Hello, everyone. It's Faye, the ENFJ, and I am here today to talk to you about addiction, wholeness, and the SX instinct. The reason I feel compelled to talk about this is because of how much disagreement there is in the typology Enneagram communities around what SX even is, and even when definitions come to some kind of fruition. I don't think that they are the most helpful in always identifying SX, but also in helping us all embody that instinctual variant in our own lives. So SX and SO are often confused. Beatrice Chestnut calls SX one-to-one, and other sources say that SO noms are actually the ones that prefer one-to-one contact due to the anxiety in groups, and I guess using that SX intimacy as a means for SO fulfillment. If you ask anybody, they'll probably give you a different answer. And I think that when differentiating SO from SX and vice versa, it's important to look at quality over quantity. So to me, right, SX is the energy, internal or external, refined or dynamic, between animate objects. And it can be fed by any function, so you can get SX fulfillment from an FE back and forth, or through some kind of NI insight, right? But it's best expressed, like it comes out through sensing. And objective personality touches on this with their concept of sexual modalities. So they take your sensing function first, and then your extroverted decider, because that's how you interact with the group, right? But there's a reason that they identify your sensing function first as the primary initial expression of your sexual energy in a gendered way, no matter where it is in your stack. So you can be an INFJ with SE last, and they're still going to identify the gendered expression of your SE as the first point of contact in terms of your energy that you're putting out in the world. So, I guess in discussions with others, we seem to at least agree that SX is that magnetism, positive or negative charge towards an object of attention. And this also, it makes me think about socionics. Sorry, I have some notes here. It makes me think about socionics and why a lot of gammas have SX, because SX, in its definition, kind of has that element of SE force and the FI attraction or repulsion relative to objects and subjects. And to me, sexual energy is an interplay between offering and receiving, and it can be expressed simplistically or intricately. So it can be I give, you take, or vice versa. It can be a rapid succession of give and take, and it can be multiple activities of giving and taking at the same time between two people or more than two people. So you can see that it can easily expand beyond that one-on-one definition. And it can be orchestrated as well as exploratory. It can be expressed through, get this, SI impressions and comfort as much as SE. It is concerned with connection as far as energy goes. Social seeks connection to build familiarity. And this can be incredibly deep too, because you can go deep with anything. You can go deep with self-preservation. So, depth of connection, it can be just a really deep social connection, right? SX seeks connection in order to feel alive, whether through intense SE novelty or gentle SI repetition. So, I guess in that case, why is SX concerned with or associated with drugs? Well, because it can also produce that feeling of aliveness, I did it because it made me feel alive, whether it was in a simple moment or years of moments. And, we don't have many, if any, healthy models of SX in colonial capitalist societies. That's a whole other video. But it's interesting to me that SO is associated with connection, because in the psych field, we've known for a while that addiction is actually considered the opposite of connection. And this brings me back to an experiment I learned about in college. It's lovingly called Rat Park, and it was performed by Professor psychologist Bruce K. Alexander and his colleagues at Simon Fraser University in BC. And in this experiment, in this study, they found that rats in isolated cages with nothing to do, when given the choice between, regular water and cocaine-infused water, chose the cocaine-infused water. Now, rats that were put in groups together in these amazing dream theme parks of cages full of wheels and shelves and places to burrow and run, when given the choice between regular water and cocaine water, they chose the life-giving, life-affirming water, not the drug water. And to me, that begs the question, is SX just about arousal? About that sympathetic nervous system response? Or is it being plugged into something greater? Think of it this way, right? The natural flow of instincts goes like this. It goes SP, SO, SX, and then back around again. That's why SXSP is synth flow as well. It's bringing things together. So what if we saw the instinctual variance as all a part of connection, right? Okay, this is how I like to break it down. So that is the, what's it called? Snow plow thingy. Sorry about that. Okay, anyway, breaking it down. SP is connection to self, self-preservation, duh. SO is connection to other, which is something that I know Russ Hudson touches on. So it's that self and other, self and other. Who am I? Who are you? So then, following that build, that logic, SX is connection to essence. It's that space between self and other, that third entity. Now, arguably, all of these have aspects of each other, but these are the variants, to borrow from astrological terms. Individual rulership. I know. So that brings another question to the table. What is healthy SX and what does it look like? Well, for me, unhealthy SX has looked like saying yes to every invitation for arousal, whether that be actual sex or a situation of novelty and risk. And in SI, this may look like repetitions of patterns you know are going to stimulate you to the same effect. Perhaps choosing the careful comfort of assured destruction. So, let's look at the typical unhealthy imagery of SX for a second, right? We have substances, gambling, novelty, seduction, risk, all those sorts of things. And not to demonize these activities and energies, in certain contexts, they're quite useful and even beneficial. We all need novelty, a little bit of seduction, a little bit of risk. Maybe not gambling, but, play and risk in play. And depending on the substance, intoxication, an altering of consciousness isn't always a bad thing. But it is the reckless pursuit of these things for the sake of themselves that produces a destructive situation, a destructive energy. So, to answer the question that I brought to the table and to tie it back to earlier mentioned context, we must balance in individually varying degrees, depending on your preferred functions, what your strengths are, and then what your weaknesses are as well. SE and SI infused SX through two respective concepts, creation and ritual. Both have associations with spirit, not religion per se, but divinity itself. They're SE and SI are really, they're different avenues to the same essence. There's that word again. You can be an atheist and still access divine essence. All that you need is a sense of awe for things, for the universe, and have that come from a mixture of conviction and mystery. So, conviction without mystery is stagnant. It doesn't allow for enough question and enough alchemy. And mystery without conviction is fleeting because you can never grab hold to any potential answers. Now, what must we do exactly? Because these are all great ideas and I love sitting here and generating ideas. Let's think about praxis for a second here. So, bringing it back to the functions, we have SE as the domain of creation. The idea is to birth something tangible. The most obvious avenue would be the arts, right? For a more healthful expression, though, you would want to tap into themes like reverence, enchantment, and gratitude. Expressing want, which is a word that denotes lack, it can be cathartic, but to a point. Eventually, we must create a reality of appreciation, even if that tree has yet to bear fruit or even bloom. Instead of being sponges or mirrors to reality, we create a new one. So aside from the arts, we can even look at technology as an avenue of this instinct function expression, like technological innovations that affirm instead of disrupt nature and its processes can be expressions of spirit because they are in touch with vitality too. Now, the point is to collect material and make anew. And after a point, when creations become submerged into the mundane and, repeated employment, repeated use, we transition to SI, ritual. And the key to tap into that is to take that reverence, enchantment, and gratitude and infuse it into routine. And through that sacred repetition, we birth and raise the mystical. Simple acts like ambient cleansing routines, so think like organic skincare or candlelit showers, which I started doing New Year's Eve coming into, I think it was 2017. I don't regret a day. It marries magic to the mundane. And we need to, be present in the essence born of ritual behaviors and watch how they become ceremonies. And it is through these acts of creation balanced with ritual that invite us to connect with essence and essence to connect back with us. Essence is already there to draw from, we just gotta turn on by tuning in. Yeah. And on that note, if you want to, leave comments down below that illustrate the paradoxical idea of peaceful SX, because I think this is a conversation that we can change, that we can create, and that we can ritualize. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.